I want you to close your eyes. I'm going to do this with you. And I want you to imagine something real quick. It's a history lesson. I want you to imagine it's a Tuesday. You ain't got nothing to do. So you heard that there was a person who was convicted of, let's say, rape. And he's going to be scheduled to be executed in a public execution. So you go there because it's Tuesday, you ain't got nothing to do. So you go watch this public execution done by the sheriff, and they decide that they're going to electrocute him. So they hook him up, they get him all wired up, and they decide to send volts of electricity through this man's body. And while they do that, his head catches on fire. Close your eyes. Doesn't in there. So they have to put it out, right? They put the fire out. They put a blanket over this person's head to like smother the fire, because that's one of the best ways to get rid of a fire, right? As they pull the blanket off of this person, their face, the flesh, is on the blanket. You going home eating dinner after that? You living your life regularly after that? I don't think any logical human can. That's why I say some of these motherfuckers ain't human. But anyway, this actually happened. It happens so often. See, capital punishment, like the death penalty, was introduced originally to hang the criminals, which we all know. We gonna get into that. But initially, it was to hang the criminals, right? But then they started having issues with that because it was almost, it was too reminiscent, and it was too close to just regular vigilante KKK style lynchings. And they had to, the government, the local governments had to like detach from that because they needed the image of white vigilantism and white supremacy to have some sort of logic, some sort of, structure. We have to do it legally, right? So they're like, okay, we're going to distance ourselves and we're going to just electrocute them. They didn't know shit about nothing back then. So they were just, this was trial and error. In fact, the very first electrocution, that word be fucking me up. The very first electrocution that took place after this law was passed in North Carolina, it took them approximately 4 minutes to kill this man. They called it perfect. It went well. And it may have took longer. I'm going to read an excerpt just to show you what these niggas said. They said, the reason it took so long for the black man to be killed was, quote, the usual resistance of a strong Negro's body. That's why it took them 4 minutes to electrocute this person who was innocent. But you see, it's hard to decipher which one is worse, because at one point when they were still hanging people, they would hang people sometimes with fishing wire. What is it? It's fishing. Yeah, basically fishing wire. And as they string these people up, for instance, the 16-year-old boy in 1905, as they string them up, the wire eats through their skin and motherfucking decapitates them, or damn near does. So I don't know which one is worse to see in person. I can tell you one thing. I'm not going to that shit. I wouldn't have been. I hope you wouldn't have been either. But this is lynching in America. This is what lynching was. A lot of times when people were lynched in America, they would be riddled with hundreds of bullets, and people would leave them there for days just to come back and take the bullets out of their body. They would go in there into your body, take the bullets out as a fucking souvenir. For the most part, when it came to lynching in America, a lot of the bodies were dismembered and disconfigured to the point where they were almost unrecognizable. When I tell you, most of the lynchings in America took place that way, and they ended up exactly like that. And the people were left there as a spectacle, as a warning, a threat to the nearby black people and white people who would defend black people's rights or help them in any type of way. Yeah, lynchings in America was fucking absurd.